Welcome everyone to another episode of Last Week in Geek, the video podcast from Manly Battleships. I'm Mr. Panda.
And I'm Rockstar.
We're here to bring you the news that really matters in the world of geek. With our fancy fan that we got at Otakon. And someone tried to pay $5 for it, and I said no. It's so cool. Look at this. Look at it, Rockstar! As usual, we'll be kicking stuff off with some new media announcements, because Netflix has dropped the final trailer for Season 3 of 13 Reasons Why. Everyone's super excited about that, right? Right? Murder, most foul. Are they going to resolve the potential school shooting plot narrative?
No.
It's a little unclear.
They're just
from the trailer.
On. We're moving on. That doesn't matter as much as Bryce.
We wanted to be timely and topical. Oops, we're done with that? Okay, moving on. Murder.
I mean, technically that would be topical. That tends to be the issue that happens after school shooting.
It was a meta joke. That's coming out August 23rd, so coming up real soon if you're interested in binging it. Fans of the Bobble games can rejoice at last, if you have a Switch, because now you and 3 of your friends can come together to play. That's coming out in early 2020.
Yep, Bubble for Friends. What a uninspiring name.
And if you wondered whether or not it was wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon, the query continues with Season 2. That's coming out pretty soon as well, though we don't have a specific date for it. And proving that Kyoto Animation is not going to slow down despite the tragedy, they've also announced that Violet Evergarden Gaiden is still coming out, and the trailer just debuted, so go ahead and make sure to check that out in the links below. Incidentally, that leads into the first of several updates that we have from stories that we covered in past episodes. Kyoto Animation has announced that they're going to be suspending 2 events they had originally scheduled. They have suspended the 11th Kyoto Animation Awards because the staff are still recovering from the arson incident. Another event that's being affected by this is called the World of KyoAni. They have suspended advance ticket sales. The event is not canceled. They're just reconsidering exactly what is going to be part of the event programming.
Speaking about canceled events, Square Enix had to cancel their tournament of Star Wing Paradox in Japan due to death threats that they were still receiving for the members of that staff of Star Wing Paradox. They are working with the police currently, and other than that, there's nothing really to say here other than it's unfortunate that we're still canceling events and stuff because people are copycatting and sending more death threats.
Meanwhile, the drama on Twitch continues. Ninja, infamous streamer, has moved on. Twitch has not. They're in a very bitter divorce stage right now. So while using Ninja's channel to redirect to new content via recommendations, it turns out that at some point the algorithm Twitch is using kicked people over to some porn Twitch channels. Now, it's worth noting that those channels, since they're against the rules, have subsequently been removed. But the fact remains that Ninja was a little bit upset that his family-friendly brand was being affected by the recommendation algorithm because people who want to go see his old stuff on a dead channel got kicked over to porn channels. And it's apparently, despite the assurances of the CEO that this is something that they've just been experimenting and tweaking with across several channels, to the best of anyone's knowledge, this is only affecting Ninja's channel in terms of dead channels. Salty Twitch. Salty.
Are you guys strapped into the roller coaster that is Disney live action films? Well, I hope you are, because it's just been told to us that they are in the beginning stages of making the return of Jafar for live action movies. The direct-to-video movie is getting a live-action adaptation. I can't even.
And in the spirit of the original Return of Jafar, the role of Will Smith will be replaced with Ice-T. Have you watched our review of The Lion King yet? I certainly hope so. Just the first 5 minutes is really all you need. Hell, you don't even have to watch us talk about the movie. Can you imagine if they do The Jungle Book 2 and it's all about Mowgli's, adolescence and getting horny? That's kind of what The Jungle Book 2 was about, let's be honest. I mean, the end of The Jungle Book was about that. Okay. Oh wait, they already are doing it with the second Maleficent movie! Yay! You know what else that's about? It's about adolescence and being like, I want to get married! Oh, Maleficent is a stand-in for the Disney Mickey Mouse saying, no, now you shouldn't get married to the first person who asks you.
You have to wait till the second one, like in Frozen. You only know him for another day, but it's better than the one that you only know for a few seconds.
The power of memes remains strong, ladies and gentlemen. Tumblr has been sold again, as if they weren't done the first time. They've been sold to a company called Automatique, which owns WordPress. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. However, they have been sold for a seemingly paltry sum of $3 million. Keep in mind, this is a stark contrast to when the company was sold to Yahoo for over $1 billion. So, if there's any consolation in this mess, ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind that our abandonment of Tumblr in the wake of the No Porn Allowed movement has apparently cost someone...
Verizon, specifically, has cost Verizon
$1 billion.
In the last of our updates, it seems that there's been a lot of fake news surrounding the Switch's newest release. It all started on Reddit with some guys talking about how they had called up customer service and gotten their old Nintendo Switches replaced with the newer, better model of the Nintendo Switch just for shipping price. And then somehow this spread out to mainstream news until The Verge and Mashable reached out to Nintendo to find out that no, you guys aren't getting free Switches for the price of shipping. I don't know how anyone thought this story was real. Thanks, Reddit, with your first-hand accounts. Because honestly,
Reddit will believe anything.
Honestly, I don't think Nintendo is just going to give out their new Nintendo Switches that literally just came out like this month. Albeit quietly came out this month, but came out recently. No, you're not getting Nintendo Switches.
You may recall last week that we were talking about items selling for a lot of money. Well, there's another one. This time it's 103 rare Pokemon cards, specifically including a first edition holographic Charizard, as well as holographic versions of Chansey, Alakazam, and Blastoise. This collection sold for $107,000 plus 10. Just look at odd amount.
It is a really odd amount to have like the $10.
Was it like eBay or something? Just like, oh, I'm going to put in the extra 10 just in case someone tries to outbid me.
I mean, that's what it kind of feels. No, it was at an actual auction.
I'm surprised they would just be like, and 2 bits. $100,000 and 2 bits. $107,000 and $10.
Sony Animation, Netflix, and Priscilla Presley are getting together to make an animated show about the king himself, Elvis. He's going to be a rocker by day and a spy by night.
So it's like Mike Tyson, Private Detective, or whatever that show is now?
It's called Agent King.
Agent King.
According to Priscilla, this is fulfilling a lifetime role that Elvis always wanted to play as a superhero fighting evil. And he'll get to do so in this new animated show coming to Netflix.
Funny fact, when you first pitched me this in the pre-show recording, I didn't realize that it was going to be animated. This is actually the first time I noticed you said the word animated. So I don't know what I was picturing.
What would you pick? Live
But I was like, yeah, well, I initially thought that you were talking about something that would touch on that whole controversy about bringing dead artists back with, like, projection and stuff.
Oh, like holographic.
Yeah, and I was like, why would that even make sense? And now you've said animation, I'm like, oh, well, that makes a lot more sense, but it's equally stupid.
No, I'm just
Maybe they could have a Mike Tyson mystery detective crossover.
Just trying to think of a holographic Elvis going around kicking ass.
Oh. Don't you step on my blue suede shoe. Cross kick. They can just overlay Elvis as a skin onto Chuck Norris.
Oh. Okay, we're done. We're moving on.
That's a jailhouse block that I just kicked. The Walking Dead, the very big important zombie show on AMC, has landed in some hot water with the FCC. The freaking FCC. All because their show featured the Emergency Broadcasting System message bleep. You know the one. Bap! Bap! And happily, since I didn't use the real one, I won't get in trouble. But apparently, if you use that in any broadcast that the FCC has coverage over as a regulator, you will be fined if it is not for the actual emergency or for a test. This includes even fictional uses, as AMC found out to their detriment.
Or even secondhand uses, as Animal Planet found out when they got fined over a non-edited out emergency broadcast sound system sound.
I'd like to say this raises some free speech issue, but I mean, like, it just seems like a really weird nuance that's just buried in the law. Like, it makes absolutely perfect sense that the legit beep is only allowed to be used in a broadcast context for the real thing. But at the same time, I'm like, but they recorded it!
But what if it sounds like the beep, but it's not the beep?
I mean, I think it's pretty distinct. I don't know if I've heard anything that sounds like the...
In this day and age, every new gadget coming out is coming out with Bluetooth. Everything you can imagine. Because everything's coming out with Bluetooth, I'm sure you're well aware that that kind of stuff can be hacked. And I'm sure you've heard of baby monitors and all sorts of other things getting hacked into. But have you ever heard of anyone hacking your butt plugs? Well, someone did, and decided to take all their information they've gathered from hacking a whole bunch of butt plugs to DEF CON, where he presented all this information to an audience that couldn't stop laughing. But he brought up an interesting question about consent and sexual assault through hacking of butt plugs.
Please just stop saying butt plugs.
I found it funny too until they started talking about consent and sexual assault, and then I went, wait a minute. You have a point there.
Yeah, Rockstar's point is that, oh no, this butt plug in my butt might start vibrating when I only want it to hold still. Oh no!
Well, okay, no. He had a fair point that say the motor could also be hacked into if there was a safety restriction on how hard it could vibrate. And someone could theoretically break that safety feature and make it vibrate harder than it's supposed to and actually cause damage.
Oh no! It's going to vibrate harder!
Clearly, at this moment, there is no way of talking about this without a joke. But I think it actually does raise an interesting and valid question about consent and sexual assault via hacking. I mean, theoretically, you could hack into vibrators too.
Okay, well, let me help you out here, Rockstar. In the realm of discussion about ethics and sexual assault, do you think that airdropping dick pics is better or worse than hacking someone's butt plug and maybe changing the rhythm from 500 RPMs to 1,000 RPMs?
No, airdropping is definitely worse, but that doesn't mean that there's an argument. I don't think that's not an argument against somebody from freaking Canada but...
Why does it matter if they're from Canada? What do you have against Canadians, you racist?
It's not about... I'm talking about a country or a place...
Oh my god, this could be cyber warfare! Can you imagine if every government official's butt plug was suddenly hacked by Russia?
Okay.
The greatest threat to our national security right now is these hackers. These Bluetooth hackers. And their butt plugs. Where's my tinfoil? We need to block off my Bluetooth devices right away. There are always complaints and issues and drama on YouTube, the greatest video streaming platform of all time so far. But now members of the LGBT plus community have taken the anger they have at YouTube and turned it into a class action lawsuit. Yes, these individual streamers have banded together and are claiming discrimination against their community because of YouTube demonetization. The reasoning being that a lot of their videos that contain content that is relevant to their community is being targeted with demonetization because of the way YouTube's algorithm kind of blindly selects certain types of featured content.
Well, according to them, they feel that anytime LGBTQ plus or gay or any of those keywords that would be associated with the community, the algorithm tends to view it as adult. And therefore, not only demonetizes it, but also does not distribute it as far reaching as, say, something that's not demonetized or not adult rated. So it's not only being demonetized, but it's also not being fed to people who would actually want to see this content, or even fed to new viewers who might want to be able to see their content or reach farther places into the community.
But it does raise some important questions. A lot of them we have been speculating along with those other YouTubers. Like, okay, so he doesn't end up calling me out at some point. That would be fun, wouldn't it? H3 discussed this in depth, as well as Philip DeFranco. And we're identifying that this is probably more likely a part of the broader issue of YouTube demonetization, as opposed to, well, screw the gay people.
The other issue that they raised that could also be just a general, not necessarily LGBTQ plus issue, but a whole YouTube issue, is the fact that the bigger YouTubers, the one that really makes the platform money, seem to tend to get passes when it comes to their content being monetized. For this community, they specifically referenced James Charles when he went off to Coachella and was doing very inappropriate things for the platform, including smacking somebody's nude ass on video.
But in fairness, as pointed out, we actually don't have any idea which videos are being monetized.
Exactly.
And that's, I mean, maybe that's their point. Maybe there's YouTube is not famous for being quite clear in cases of what does and doesn't violate its rules. I mean, they're kind of written that way. They're guidelines more than anything.
But the one thing we do know is that we do know YouTube does give special treatments to bigger YouTubers when it comes to, say, clashes with content. Like James Charles specifically had a problem with one of his videos getting copyright claimed over a song, and he got that cleared with YouTube and taken off as a copyright because he did a parody. Faster than, say, anybody else on this platform, when you get demonetized.
Sorry, John Tron.
It's like, well, too bad.
Now, there's another component of this lawsuit, and that deals with ads that come before these videos that are being demonetized.
And those specific ads are anti-gay propaganda ads. There's no really other way to put it. It's anti-gay propaganda ads being placed before.
Buy my book, you don't want your kids to turn into gays.
And the only way we can say this might be happening is the people who are buying these ads up are purposely tagging it with gay, queer, all the other keywords that would come from that community to purposely get their ads placed in front of gay videos, LGBTQ plus videos. A lot of the problems seem to come down to the algorithm at the end of the day. I feel this next point is a little bit controversial. They talk about how free speech should be allowed on YouTube as a platform, but then also criticize hate speech, kind of specifically referencing certain issues that have happened on the platform. I get being anti-hate speech. I totally get it. But how is YouTube going to define what is hate speech and what is free speech? It becomes this weird issue that even Twitter has been facing for a while, with like Donald Trump not being able to block people because he's the president. And we're getting to the point where it's like now our platforms are having to like do this free speech thing while also policing speech. So just saying, you can't have it both ways, and this is coming from somebody who is from the community. You can't have it both ways. Either everything's okay or none of it's okay.
As our social media slowly edges into the realm of being a public forum, we have to really start asking ourselves who's going to be making the calls about what's allowed and what's not. I don't know if I'm any more comfortable with corporate America making that call than I am about the government. So I don't know, guys. If you have some thoughts, feel free to leave them below. But other than that, we are done with this episode. Am I getting demonetized? I'm going to get demonetized because of how sexy this fan is waving.
I mean, considering everything we talked about, something here is going to get us
demonetized. No, it's not even going to be the butt plugs. It's going to be me waving this fan. Look how sexy this fan waving is. It's like one of those ancient 1960s movies with oriental tones. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Click subscribe and follow and do all the things, and then tell your friends.
Come to our Discord. Come to our Discord. Have fun.
Discord.
Come to our Reddit. That's actually, our Reddit is very poorly
Stop trying to make the Reddit happen. It's never gonna happen. Come to Discord. Say hi.
Come to Discord.
Bye.
Bye.